Today's lesson on the Buddhist Nirvana will probably be one of the vaguest and most oversimplified lessons I've taught to date. Also, since even Buddhists disagree with what Nirvana really is, pretty much everything we hit on will be easily arguable. For this reason, we're going to keep things simple, giving you 3 terms to sort of hang your hat on. First, the most general and uncontested definition of the Buddhist Nirvana is a state of total liberation and the freedom from the cycle of rebirth and redeath. Throughout the lesson, I'll give you a few other alternative definitions, but in short, it's the ultimate religious goal of Buddhism. Second, a person who attains nirvana is known as an arhat. Third, someone who has the ability to attain nirvana but delays it in order to help others is a bodhisattva. If you can keep these 3 terms straight, you'll be in good shape to answer some concrete questions on the subject. Now, on to the hazy stuff. One of the main reasons a conversation about nirvana will always be vague is that many Buddhists believe it can't be described without experiencing it. For this reason, many, including Buddha himself, have said we shouldn't even try. To use a crazy trite metaphor, it's sort of as futile as trying to explain how chocolate tastes. No matter how many superlatives you use to convey its deliciousness, no one can really get it until they pop it into their own mouths. Adding to this vagueness issue, many Buddhists believe nirvana is a complete extinction of the physical life. Yes, the enlightened mind remains, but the physical body is gone. Again, this makes it rather hard for someone who has reached nirvana to share the details with the rest of us. If they've already checked out, it's going to be pretty hard for them to give us the play-by-play on their experience. Perhaps this is why many sects of the Buddhist faith include the belief in the bodhisattva that we talked about earlier. Without their willingness to stick around and help others attain nirvana, there'd be no one left to show the way. Making things even trickier, some Buddhists believe nirvana is the complete extinction of the body and the mind. To them, just an indefinable spiritual essence continues to exist. Other Buddhists, in fact a large amount of Buddhists, take this even a step further by believing that nirvana is the complete annihilation of self. Nothing exists of what once was you. Everything is extinct. Of course, this definition makes it really difficult for our Western minds to grasp how a person who has attained nirvana can still exist and be called an arhat. Openly acknowledging this contradiction of sorts, Melfort Spiro, a leading scholar in the study of Buddhism, quotes a Buddhist monk as once saying, "If nirvana, nothing exists. If there is some feeling, there is no nirvana. Still, it's not true to say that nirvana is nothing. There is something. That is, there is peacefulness." Like I said at the beginning, it's more than a little hard for some of us to understand and grasp. With this in mind, most Western scholars tend to broaden the definition of arhat to include the words an enlightened Buddhist monk. With this, they sort of fit it into the Western paradigm of a saint. One thing is for certain. According to the Tripitaka, or Buddhist sacred text, also known as the Pali Canon, a person who wears the title arhat better be living a life that is free from ego, pride, and anything that even hints of selfishness. Being a very vague topic to discuss, nirvana is defined by the Western paradigm as the state of total liberation and the freedom from the cycle of rebirth and redeath. For our purposes, we can also think of it as the ultimate religious goal of Buddhism. Some Buddhists believe nirvana means the end of the physical body, while some believe it is the end of the mind as well. Others go as far as to call it the complete annihilation or extinction of self. Despite these differences, the Buddhist sacred texts known as the Tripitaka or Pali Canon hold to the belief in an arhat or a person who has attained nirvana. Buddhists also hold to the belief of the bodhisattva, or a person who has the ability to attain nirvana but delays it in order to help others.